The discovery opens a window into the artistic, spiritual, and social lives of our ancestors, highlighting their creativity, complexity, and ingenuity. One of the most groundbreaking discoveries in recent years emerged from Indonesia's Sulawesi Island, where a newly uncovered cave painting may be the oldest known example of visual storytelling. This hunting scene, featuring human-like figures and native animals, offers far more than just aesthetic value. It suggests that early humans had already developed a sophisticated understanding of narrative and symbolism and a deep connection to the natural world. The figures in the artwork appear not merely as hunters but as characters in a drama, revealing an early grasp of plot, emotion, and perhaps even myth. Such complexity suggests a cognitive leap forward, blurring the lines between survival-driven expression and artistic aspiration. These revelations are not confined to a single region. Across the globe, prehistoric cave art continues to yield insights into how early humans thought, worshipped, organized society, and viewed their place within nature. In Bulgaria, the Mura cave stands as a striking example of such insight, with its walls adorned by vivid depictions of deer, goats, and long-extinct species like the woolly rhinoceros. These images, rendered in red, black, and white pigments, were not merely sketched, they were brought to life with careful strokes, proportions, and movement. These images serve as both artistic achievements and historical documents, illustrating the animals that shared the Ice Age world with early humans, as well as the symbolic weight these creatures likely carried in their spiritual or ritual lives. The aesthetic value of the artwork is matched by its anthropological significance, revealing how early humans interacted with their environment, what they feared, what they revered, and how they may have attempted to control or honor those forces through the medium of art. In Spain, a particularly revolutionary discovery has challenged long-held beliefs about the cognitive abilities of Neanderthals. In caves such as La Parciega, paintings dated to more than 64,000 years ago suggest that Neanderthals, once regarded as incapable of abstract thought, engaged in symbolic art-making long before Homo sapiens arrived in Europe. These simple yet deliberate shapes, marks, and figures reveal a mind capable of abstract reasoning and cultural transmission, redefining our understanding of our ancient cousins and forcing a re-evaluation of the evolutionary tree of intelligence and creativity. Further west in France, the renowned Chauvet Cave, sometimes referred to in translation as Lascaux, contains dynamic portrayals of Ice Age animals that seem to pulse with movement and energy. These animals, lions, mammoths, horses, were not just drawn. They were animated with multiple limbs and varying positions to suggest motion, as if the artists were attempting to create an early form of animation. The sophistication of these depictions suggests not only artistic talent but a spiritual reverence for the creatures shown, possibly reflecting the role of these animals in rituals or cosmological beliefs. Similarly, in the Cave of Hands in Argentina, we find 9,300-year-old handprints left by blowing pigment over outstretched fingers to create a negative space, one of the oldest known forms of stencil art. These prints, often accompanied by hunting scenes, reveal the communal and symbolic purpose behind the artwork. They were likely not individual expressions but collective ones, statements of presence, belonging, and shared identity. They may have served to mark territory, signal group cohesion, or invoke spiritual protection. The technique itself suggests a deep understanding of artistic method and a desire to leave something permanent in a transitory world. In India, the Bhimbetka rock shelters provide an extensive visual timeline of humanity's artistic evolution, stretching over tens of thousands of years. These paintings offer a narrative that spans generations, from early depictions of animals and hunting scenes to more abstract symbols and geometrical patterns. The evolution of style and subject matter reveals how art mirrored the development of cognition, spirituality, and community. The shelters themselves appear to have been used for more than just living. They were centers for storytelling, rituals, education, and social gathering, with the art functioning as a key medium of cultural transmission. In Brazil's Serra da Capivara National Park, another treasure trove of prehistoric imagery emerges in the form of more than 30,000 rock paintings, some of which date back nearly 20,000 years. These paintings do more than portray daily life. They hint at celestial understanding and philosophical contemplation. One remarkable image shows a figure seemingly gazing at the stars, suggesting an early interest in astronomy and a spiritual connection to the cosmos. The painted stories stretch across time, depicting not just hunts and family gatherings but relationships with the skies, the seasons, and unseen forces. Portable art adds another layer of complexity to this ancient narrative. Engraved stones discovered in the Nilgiri Hills and other remote regions are small, transportable, and marked with intricate carvings. These artifacts reflect how symbolism was not confined to cave walls or fixed spaces, but was part of a mobile cultural toolkit that moved with nomadic peoples. The presence of similar motifs across vast geographic distances suggests a shared symbolic language or belief system that transcended local communities, hinting at ancient networks of trade, communication, or mutual understanding. These mobile forms of art allowed ideas to travel, providing cohesion among dispersed groups and reinforcing the interconnectedness of early human societies. Efforts to preserve and protect these cultural treasures have grown more urgent as climate change, tourism, and vandalism threaten their fragile existence. In France's Chauvet Cave, for instance, access is now heavily restricted, with a detailed replica created for educational purposes and to prevent the deterioration of the original 14,000-year-old paintings. These depictions of ibex, bison, and other animals are celebrated not just for their beauty but for the technical mastery and spiritual insight they reveal. The artist's understanding of movement, perspective, and emotion is astonishing, providing a window into the soul of a long-lost world. Similarly, Spain's El Castillo cave features red discs and stenciled handprints dating back more than 40,000 years. These images, primitive yet powerful, echo across millennia, reminding us that the drive to create and communicate has been an intrinsic part of human existence from the beginning. Taken together, these discoveries illuminate the rich tapestry of prehistoric life, showing how early humans were not merely survivors but thinkers, dreamers, and visionaries. The intricate hunting scenes, the symbolic handprints, the dynamic portrayals of animals, all these forms of expression serve as timeless testaments to the resilience, creativity, and interconnectedness of our ancestors. As researchers continue to uncover new sites and decode their meanings, the story of human history becomes ever more complex and deeply fascinating. These ancient works are not relics of a silent past, they are voices speaking across the ages. Each painting, engraving, and artifact offers a glimpse into a world where art was not decorative but essential, an expression of. Through these visual expressions, we connect with those who lived tens of thousands of years ago, understanding that the urge to make sense of the world through symbolism and creativity is as old as humanity itself. These works show us that art is not a modern luxury but a fundamental element of what it means to be human. It transcends time and geography, binding us to a shared heritage that stretches far beyond recorded history. The cave walls, the engraved stones, the ancient pigments, they are not just archaeological data points. They are messages, stories, and reflections from the dawn of human consciousness, offering an eternal link between us and those who came before. As long as we continue to explore, preserve, and interpret them, these ancient creations will remain beacons of humanity's enduring spirit. These ancient works of art continue to shape and reshape our understanding of the people who made them, providing insight into not only their survival strategies and day-to-day lives but also their inner worlds, their hopes, fears, beliefs, and dreams. Each new cave discovery is a reminder that the human drive to create and communicate spans continents, species, and epochs. It is as if prehistoric artists left a visual dialogue for future generations to interpret, a conversation carved into stone and pigment across millennia. Whether it is a scene of hunters chasing game across the walls of an Indonesian cave or a lone handprint etched high on a cliff face in Argentina, each image is a declaration. We were here, we thought, we felt, we believed. In this way, prehistoric art allows us to trace the emergence of the symbolic mind, the shift from mere instinct to intentional meaning-making. These ancient artists were not simply decorating their surroundings. They were mapping out a world rich in meaning, where animals held spiritual power, where rituals connected communities, and where the mysteries of life and death were explored through visual storytelling. The development of such symbolic behavior marks a fundamental turning point in human evolution. This is not merely about art for art's sake. The act of creating images, of deliberately representing the unseen or the imagined, reflects a major leap in cognitive ability. It suggests the presence of language, abstract thinking, and complex social structures. When early humans chose to draw a bison not as it was, but as it moved or behaved, they were participating in a deeply human act, the shaping of perception into a shared cultural experience. These early expressions also reveal a fascinating intersection between the practical and the spiritual. In many cases, the locations of the art, deep within caves, far from natural light, suggests that the act of creation itself was ritualistic, perhaps even sacred. Crawling deep into the earth to leave behind a painting of a deer or a shamanic figure may have been a rite of passage, a way to commune with spirits, ancestors, or forces beyond the visible world. Such spiritual dimensions are evident in the recurring motifs found across continents. Animals drawn with exaggerated features, handprints arranged in patterns, symbols repeated across walls. These are not random doodles but deliberate choices, suggesting shared beliefs or mythologies that bound early communities together. The spiritual importance of animals in particular is reflected in the sheer number of cave paintings that focus on megafauna, bison, mammoths, lions, horses, and others that dominated the Pleistocene landscape. These animals were not only hunted but revered. They were central to the mythological and symbolic lives of prehistoric people, perhaps representing fertility, strength, danger, or transformation. Many anthropologists theorize that cave paintings served as part of hunting magic, an effort to ensure a successful hunt by first capturing the animal spirit through art. This idea is supported by evidence from shamanistic cultures that persisted into more recent history, where rituals often included drawings, chants, and dances meant to mimic or invoke the behavior of animals. In these traditions, the line between artist and spiritual leader is blurred. The artist was not just an observer of the world but an active participant in its unseen dimensions. Similar ideas may have governed the artistic practices of prehistoric humans. Some of the most striking images show half-human, half-animal figures, beings that straddle the boundaries between the physical and the metaphysical. These therianthropes, as they are called, may have represented shamans in a trance state, gods or spirits, or mythological creatures from oral traditions now lost to time. Their presence in cave art from Europe to Africa suggests a widespread spiritual worldview in which humans and animals were deeply interconnected, not just ecologically, but cosmologically. The repetition of certain symbols, dots, spirals, zigzags, and other abstract shapes, adds another layer to this mystery. Some researchers believe these may represent early attempts at writing or counting, possibly linked to lunar cycles, seasons, or ritual calendars. And so, what we see etched into the walls of ancient caves is not just primitive drawing, it is the birth of human consciousness made visible. These abstract markings, though seemingly simple, represent a profound cognitive shift, a transition from reactive to reflective thinking. In creating these forms, early humans were not merely observing the world but categorizing it, assigning meaning, and perhaps even beginning to codify a primitive language of symbols. This ability to represent abstract ideas, to communicate across time and space using visual signs, marks one of the earliest known expressions of higher-order thinking. It suggests that long before the advent of written language, humans had begun constructing frameworks to understand and influence their world, through cycles, seasons, rituals, and the unseen spiritual forces they believed governed their lives. As we delve deeper into the meanings behind these symbols, we uncover a layered and multifaceted worldview. Certain motifs, such as concentric circles, animal-human hybrids, and repeated hand stencils, appear across multiple continents and disparate cultures. This repetition suggests that even in isolation, early humans were converging upon similar ways of expressing themselves, guided by shared needs, fears, and hopes. It points to a kind of universal human experience, a recognition that, regardless of geography, prehistoric peoples were engaged in the same fundamental pursuit, making sense of existence. Even more remarkable is how these artworks were integrated into the social and emotional fabric of early human life. Caves were not just galleries but sacred spaces. Many of them required long, dangerous journeys into darkness, with only flickering firelight to guide the way. This effort, this commitment to reaching the inner sanctum of the earth, speaks volumes about the importance of the act itself. Creating art in these spaces may have been a rite of passage, a communal ritual, or an offering to deities or ancestral spirits. It could also have been a way of preserving memory, an ancient form of history-keeping where major events, hunts, or mythic stories were encoded onto stone for generations to come. Ultimately, these cave paintings, petroglyphs, and symbolic carvings stand as echoes of our species' earliest attempts to find meaning. They challenge the notion that intelligence, creativity, and spirituality are modern inventions.